wake up, do all my classes from like 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then go to a session, and then for some reason I had to go out every night. So then I would sleep for like half an hour. It took a long time. I used to cry my way into sessions of people I was starstruck by. Rhea called me one time and was like, Emily, you can't cry. People today reacting and sharing it and listening to it and telling me what lyrics they like has just been like, I can't even, I'm gonna cry right now talking about it. It's so insane.
Hi, this is Lauren Engel. Today I'm here with Emily Warren.
Hello.
So, are your parents from New York as well? Like, where are they originally from?
My dad is from just outside of the city in New York, and my mom is from Kansas City.
Oh.
Midwestern girl.
Yeah. And then they moved to, like, Upper West for work?
Yeah, they both went to law school and met at their law firm. They both got jobs in New York, and so that's how they met in the office.
But from a young age, your dad was already like super musical, right, with his band, and like that's crazy. He's still performing with the same group like all these years.
It's amazing, and they're like actually my favorite band ever. They play in New York all the time, and it's like the best night of the year.
And then did he teach you a lot about music early on, or? Yeah,
I think there was always music kind of playing in the house, so it was always around. And then when I first kind of got into songwriting, he was the one that was like, all right, well, we should go get these recorded, and his band recorded the first EP with me when I was in like 8th grade.
Wow. Yeah. And you also took like lessons, right? Or?
Yeah, I was taking piano lessons and eventually guitar lessons and also harp lessons, actually.
Yeah. For how long did you do harp, or was it just kind of
like a year?
Yeah.
It was awesome, but I don't know, it's not that practical of an instrument.
Yeah.
Like, I had to rent one, and it was this gigantic thing in my room. It was beautiful, but very random.
Did you know from the onset that you wanted to do something in the creative realm?
I think so. I think actually I'm really lucky because I started getting into music when I was really too young to be thinking about a career, and kind of by the time it was time to think about, okay, this is what I'm doing actually as a job, I was already kind of in it and already had fallen in love with writing and playing. So
so your dad didn't push like academics on you from his like lawyer perspective?
A little. I mean, they've always been very supportive and kind of open for me to do whatever I wanted to do, but I did go to Trinity, which is a really academically rigorous school, so that was not like the ideal path, but it worked out.
Did you like school? Like, were you good at school?
It's funny, I'm like most probably creative kids, or maybe all kids in general, like the classes that I liked I did really well in, but there were some classes that I just would rather be writing songs than doing the homework, so those fell off a little.
What did you like a lot?
I randomly, the best grade I ever got was in geometry. I got an A+ for the year.
That's so cool.
That's very random, but I think it was because I like to draw. I've always been into art like that, and I think there was so much kind of art involved.
I like that, yeah. So. And you have brothers, right?
Yeah, I have 3 brothers. I have 2 older brothers and a twin brother.
And they also were like playing a lot of different types of music in the house.
Yeah, my brothers were like super into Eminem and like all kinds of rap, which was always coming up from their rooms. And my twin brother was actually in the children's chorus at the opera when we were growing up. Yeah, so it was kind of everything. Eclectic mix.
How would you describe your personality back then growing up?
My personality?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I think my oldest brother Brett told me when I was kind of first starting the band, he said the most attractive thing is confidence, and that just like really stuck with me. So I was always trying to be confident in whatever it was I was doing. I feel like I had some horrendous haircuts and some bad style choices, but I did it confidently. So I like to think that's my personality.
And were you doing musical stuff in school? Like, were you ever in the choir or anything? Or was it kind of you alone, like, finding music?
I was in the jazz band, which I remember the jazz teacher we had played, my like band that I had in middle school had played a song at an assembly, and the jazz teacher came up to me and was like, can you come play bass in the jazz band? And I was like, all right, but like, just so you know, I can't actually play the bass. I was just doing the 4 notes that I knew. But it was awesome, and he eventually had me singing in the jazz band, and I he was like one of the only, he was just very supportive of me the whole time I was at that school, and when I felt like I wasn't always being supported, and Mr. Cifelli was always supporting and encouraging me to do music, and so he was awesome.
And living in New York, did you go to a lot of performances growing up?
Yeah, my parents are big. My parents to this day go to theater like every single night, so
oh my gosh,
it's crazy. They see too many things. They have like all these subscriptions, so they go every night. But yeah, we always went to musicals, opera. My parents took us to the opera when we were like 4 years old.
Oh my gosh.
My mom always tells the story that we walked into the opera the first time, and everyone there was kind of looking at my parents like, how are you gonna bring little kids into here? And we just sat quietly the whole time. And my parents are very proud of that. But yeah, we were always just kind of exposed. I think growing up in New York, you just have so many, I mean, by the time I was a teenager, going to concerts and just all that, there's so much there.
And is your mom still a lawyer now, or?
She's actually retired and living her best life. But she just retired a couple of years ago, and she killed it, and now she's killing it even more and traveling the world and reading a million books.
That's so cool.
Yeah, inspiring.
What careers are your brothers in?
My two oldest brothers run like a nightlife company called Medium Rare, and they throw these amazing parties in New York and do events. My twin brother is a real estate agent now.
Oh nice.
Yeah.
So different.
Yep. We're a mix.
And then, so after high school, and then you went, so did you know that you wanted to go to NYU? Like, was it your dream school, or?
Actually, Wesleyan was my dream school.
Yeah.
And I applied early and was rejected, which was hard for me, but obviously everything worked out, and I think like it was super last minute. My friend Matt Porter, who was in my band and has now done a bunch of my music videos for me, he was like, have you heard of this program at NYU? And I was like, no, I haven't at all. And I got the application together so fast and sent it in. I remember it was like New Year's Eve, and I was finishing it before I went out. And sent it in and got in miraculously, and had an amazing time at that school.
Wow.
And it was great being there, and also just so important to still be in New York and be able to like write and see shows and stuff.
What was your major?
Recorded music is the major at the Clive Davis School.
Looking back, do you think that was good studying music? Like, I know so many musicians who like just can't study music.
I mean, that program's really good. It's not like Berkeley or something where you're like it's all about like theory and actually doing the music. There was a lot of like reading contracts and studying the history of music.
Good. Wow.
Yeah, so it was a really good spread, like a really good contemporary music program. So and they had amazing speakers come in that like changed my. They had Benny Blanco come in, and that was like one of the things that pushed me to try writing for other people, so it was very helpful being there.
And were your parents supportive of you doing anything?
Music school?
Yeah.
Not at first, actually. My mom wasn't fully down for me to go to music school, but when I got in, the day I got in, she was by herself and read all the materials and like read about the school and called me and was like, I'm so sorry, like I've changed my mind. You got into this, that's amazing, you have to go. Which was awesome. Yeah.
Did you ever feel any pressure or like difficulty, like you're already so early on like sticking into this career path that you have to kind of like make it somehow?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think I always thrived off of, I think going to an academic school, it was kind of like me trying to do music was just like, what are you doing with your life? And it always made me need to prove that I could do it. And yeah, I think kind of the pressure of needing to make it happen is half the reason I did it so intensely. For sure. Yeah.
And when did your band actually form originally?
We formed, I was in 10th grade, just the beginning of 10th grade. So in high school. Yeah. We were together for like 3.5 years.
How big of a fan base did you get with that?
It was funny, we didn't branch too much out of New York City, but we started at this venue called the 55 Bar where my dad always plays. He got us the gig, and it's like this tiny room that can fit like 30 people at the very most. And from there we got a show at the Bitter End, and then we'd sell at the bitter end and move to the next place. And I think it was so awesome doing that and working our way up in New York, just because of the way that ladder kind of works. Like if you sell at one room, you can then go play at a bigger one. And we made it to Webster Hall, which was sick.
That's huge.
Yeah, and then we just did some college shows like outside of the city, but we had a good fan base going. And actually, this woman, Rhea Pesrisha, who was an intern at Atlantic Records at the time, found our band on MySpace, and she's now my publisher.
Yeah.
She's the one that
I was wondering like how you actually. That's so funny.
She fully found us on MySpace, so shout out to MySpace.
And then when you were doing this band, were you taking time off school, or how did you have time to do it?
I actually took a year off of college to come out here and start writing. And then I did like summer classes and winter classes the next year to graduate on time still. Oh wow. Which was, I honestly, like, that time was so crazy. I remember I would wake up, do all my classes from like 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then go to a session, and then for some reason I had to go out every night. So then I would sleep for like half an hour. And that was me for a year straight. It was insane. Wow. I don't know. I honestly, now I'm like, I need 9 hours of sleep, and I don't know who that person was.
You decided to reconnect with Rhea, or?
So I started writing a few songs kind of just for pitch. I didn't really know what I was doing. This is after the band split up.
Oh, but you how did you know about like pitch and everything? Was it through school and you realized?
Well, yeah, so Benny Blanco came in and spoke to us about that. That's when I started like paying attention to it. And then I got put in a session with Scott Harris. This was my first session I ever had, who's an amazing writer who's done like all the Shawn Mendes stuff and a million other things. And we wrote Don't Let Me Down together eventually. But he was my first session, which went terribly. I didn't speak the whole time because I was like, I'm never going to write a song for another person. And for some reason the next day he called me back and was like, are you down to try again? Like, can you come sing something for me and then we'll try writing again? And I was like, okay. Went in and then just was writing a lot over the next, it wasn't even that long, maybe like a few months. And then I remember I went into my email and I typed in records to see if I knew anyone at a record label. And Rhea's email came up and I emailed her and I said, hey, I know we haven't spoken in a couple years, but I'm in New York. I'd love to come in and play you songs. I'm writing for other people now. And she was like, I actually moved to LA and I'm switching jobs today to go work for Prescription Songs, publishing company. And literally, like, I was like, what the hell? She's like, said, I'm gonna play your songs for Dr. Luke. And I was like, no, you're not. And sure enough, she played my songs for him and he messaged me like a week later. And we were in talks for a while and then they said, if you want to graduate, we'll wait till you graduate and sign you then. And I still had 2 years left. So I was like, oh God, okay. And I had to graduate because my parents wanted me to. But then, like literally a week later, Luke called me and was like, we changed our minds, we want to sign you now. And I was like,
I'm getting goosebumps when you tell me.
It's the most ridiculous story. It's like impossible that it happened that way. It's just magic.
How many of your songs did he see before making that decision?
It was like 6 songs maybe, and one of them, funnily enough, was the song I wrote about my band splitting up called Until You Were Gone, which is the first song that got sent to the Chainsmokers, and that's how I met them. So it's all like, that little moment was absurd. Yeah.
And then, but like throughout that time, were you already like deconstructing a lot of songs and like learning how everything worked? Or
yes.
Was it?
After I met Benny Blanco and after Rhea started saying I'm gonna play your stuff for Luke, I remember I made like endless playlists of just like specific writers or producers and then all the songs they did.
Oh wow.
And was like digging through Wikipedia trying to figure out who did what, and that was really cool. And I still have those playlists, but just like seeing, I remember Ryan Tedder, like I knew him from his band, and then it was like, oh, he's done all these songs and they all have this kind of cohesive sound, and there's just so many writers, and even so many writers on Prescription Songs that I was like going to sign to, that I was like, oh my God.
How did you realize that? Were you also shopping around other labels, or was it mostly just Prescription?
Not real. I mean, I did speak to a few others at the time, but it was kind of a no-brainer just because it happened so fast with them, and they were so, like, I had 0 cuts, and the company was really, really small at the time. Like, they hadn't really signed anyone. So I was like, I can't believe I'm being signed to this company.
Yeah.
And Rhea, who is signing me, is just like been the homie the whole way through, and so supportive, and just like we've kind of built this whole thing together. And
I love
with
that.
Zach, my manager, and it's just been like squad.
And what is it through her that you met all these people, like Chainsmokers or?
Pretty much, yeah, between her and my
Sean.
manager, Zach, like, they've just set up everything for me, and really starting from nothing. I mean, I had nothing going on when I signed, just a couple of songs, and this whole thing has been the team together.
Yeah. How did you get your confidence up to like work with these people? Because initially you were like shy for the first one.
I mean, it took a long time. I used to cry my way into sessions of people I was starstruck by. Rhea called me one time and was like, Emily, you can't cry. But I was working with like my heroes, and just, I mean, I so like working with people who are so much better than me, because it's challenging, and especially at that time I felt so intensely like I had to prove myself in the room, and I had to like not only leave with a good song, but kind of have them, whoever I was in a session with, go and tell other people that I was sick. So it was like I was just trying to be amazing as best I could. But it definitely took some. I've tried to calm down now, but I still get really starstruck with people. I can't help it.
And then over time you also became, like, sharing your vulnerability wasn't as difficult, like what you went through.
Yeah. I mean, actually, it took a while for me to learn that, like how important it is to share the vulnerability. That's like, I remember I learned that while I was in a session with Scott, and we started asking these people questions, and they just started opening up, and it was kind of like, there's so much good music to be made out of getting to that uncomfortable place. And once I learned that, it was like, oh, sessions are not just like getting songs done. It's like this therapeutic, cathartic experience.
Now you learn how to be a therapist.
Yeah, literally. So it's just, that's changed songwriting for me too, because you leave a session having had a meaningful day, and kind of amazing conversations, and people feeling better than they did when they walk in, and that's like takes the whole thing to another level.
Yeah. What's crazy to me is the Dua Lipa New Rules song, No One Wanted It.
Yeah.
Like, what even?
Dude, there's so many songs like that. I feel like I didn't even know. That's kind of the ones I always tell, that like when you write a song every day, you try not to get too attached. And I think when people are not really down with a song, you just let it go. You don't think about it anymore. And then when we were told that was going to become the single, it was like, wait, what? This song? Like, I haven't even listened to this song since we did it. It's just like, every writer in this town has a million songs on their hard drive that like need to see the light of day, but it just takes so much of the right timing and everything. Perfect storm.
Yeah. What was your reaction when you saw that you were the Forbes 30 under 30?
That was the most insane thing that's ever happened. I remember being told about it, and I was like, wait, what? No. It's just so much perspective with that. Such a like prestigious list.
Yeah, it must have been so cool for your parents also. Yeah. That's like an official thing.
Oh yeah. They literally framed the magazine and gave it to me as a present. So they're definitely pumped about that.
Yeah. What was it like going to like just performing in like local venues to like SNL, Jimmy Kimmel? Was that a big job? Like
crazy. And I mean, that's all the Chainsmokers did that all for me, and then also took me on tour. We were playing in front of like minimum 7,000 people.
Crazy.
Which was just like, first of all, when they asked me to go on that tour, in my mind I was like, are you guys nuts? Like, I've literally only played the bitter end, and you're gonna just send me off on the stage in front of all these people? Like, are you not worried that it's gonna go wrong? So I'm so appreciative to them about that, and I learned so much being on that tour and doing SNL and all that. I mean, we just did Kimmel with me singing the whole song. I mean, it's been crazy. Yeah. I'm so lucky that I know them.
What are the inspirations behind your album?
It's a relationship that I was in the whole time. It's really like a snapshot from the past year and a half. 2 years of my life. It's been crazy today, having it come out this morning.
Yeah.
Crazy. And just like literally opening my diary and passing it off to the world.
Oh,
but
I love that.
that's what it feels like. But people today reacting and sharing it and listening to it and telling me what lyrics they like has just been like, I can't even, I'm gonna cry right now talking about it. It's so insane. It's like, I love writing, and I love writing with other people, and I'll never get tired of that, but something that's fully my own and just my vision and the artwork that I chose and the videos and the songs and the production is just like, it's unlike any other feeling. It's just, it's scary as hell, but very fun, very rewarding.
How did you realize now was the right moment to put that out?
You mean, well, first of all, it took forever for it to get done.
So it started like a long time ago.
A couple of years ago, but actually what kind of pushed me was there were these 2 songs, Just Click and Not Ready to Dance, which are both on the album, which I had written kind of when I was just writing for other people and saying I didn't want to do the artist thing. And with these 2 songs in particular, whenever someone was interested in them, I was super resistant. I was just like, oh, I don't know if I want anyone else singing this. And after I kept feeling like that, I was like, all right, well, obviously I have to sing them or they're gonna sit on the hard drive forever. And that happened kind of at the same time as the song I do with Friendship, Capsize, was doing its thing. And they released that song independently, and it just kind of caught fire. And having those things happen, it made me realize to be an artist, you don't have to have this whole like plan and package and look or whatever. Like you can just kind of, I mean, there's work to be done, but you can kind of just make music and put it out and be yourself, which I hadn't realized really before. So then I set some time aside and wrote the album with some friends, and yeah, it's been a long time for sure.
Coming up, are you gonna limit your like pitch sessions or? No,
honestly, I'm still writing like almost every day with other artists, which is amazing, and I need both really in my life. But whenever I have something that I need to say or I need to write, like I'm gonna set time aside or just spend the day alone and kind of get it down. So it's the balance that's important to me for sure.
How would you say your music has changed since the early songs you made?
Less lyrics is the big one.
Interesting.
As in the sheer amount. My grandma always used to say, there's too many words in these songs, I can't sing along. And now when I listen back, I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't breathe in the songs. I'd take one gulp of air at the beginning and just like, so I've learned, and this is another reason that writing for other people has been so important, and just writing with so many people, is I learned in the past few years before making this album how to really just like make a concise and clear point, and not use so many metaphors or not just say so much unnecessary stuff. If you can boil down what you're saying to one simple thing, it's not only easier to digest, but just like it just is better to perform and makes more sense, and just is potentially can connect with more people because they know what you're talking about. Versus I used to write with the thesaurus. There's a song that I put out in 8th grade that's literally like every single word went to the thesaurus so that it could be a big word instead of a small word, and the song is insane. We've rinsed it off the internet because no one needs to hear that, but like I just can't believe when I listen to it now, it's like words that I don't even know now. I'm like, how did you come up with this? It's crazy.
What would you say have been your biggest challenges so far?
Biggest challenges, I think.
I mean, in personal life also.
Personal life. Well, I mean, it's funny because I said earlier that I was confident, but I think trusting my gut has been something that I've had to learn, but that's really proven to be one of the most important things as a person, as a writer, as an artist. Everything is like, if you think something's cool, then A, it's cool, and B, it shouldn't matter what anyone else thinks, whether that's like coming up with melodies in a room or lyrics or putting your own stuff out. I think it's really hard with social media and also just the business side of everything to not feel kind of swayed in one direction or the other, or to try and not care what people think about what you're doing. But I've tried to remember that that's irrelevant. Not irrelevant, but like it's not the main. The main thing is me being proud of what I'm making and me liking what I'm making, and I think everything else kind of falls in place.
What does love mean to you?
What does love mean? Oh God, love is torture. I think love is great. I fell in love for the first time a couple years ago, and I remember thinking, what am I doing in sessions and working when there's love? I should just be in love.
Oh my gosh.
So that's my vibe with love, but love is hard, but love is important.
Last question, what do you want to be remembered for?
Wow, that is a crazy question. I always say that what music has always done for me is kind of saved me when I needed it the most, because you hear someone, like for me it's John Mayer or Gavin DeGraw or something like that, singing about something you're going through, and you're like, how do you know exactly what's happening to me right now? Which I always believed came from people being really like painfully honest. So I've really tried to do that, and I think if there's one thing that I'd like people to hold on to is that it made them feel better, or made them feel less alone.
Yeah, I love that. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.